John, how are we feeling, mate? We're going the distance here. Game 3. For me, I feel like this is a really, really even draft. Like, I don't feel like we're, too one-sided in regards to the draft. So I feel like it's still going to come down to a bit of execution. But off the back of the draft and before we see the plays occur, who do we feel like has that slight edge?
I don't know what to say. I think it's really even, as you mentioned. It's hard to say because there's so much back and forth you can get done here. You've got good setup for the Kunkka with just a Shadow Demon. You've got the threat of Black Hole. It's going to be consistent, but also not reliable because of the presence of Clockwork and Rubik. I would lean slightly towards Talon, but I can see Polaris playing the early to mid game a lot better. And we might end up in a scenario where Talon just loses the map a lot more. They're not going to have that scaling damage as they had with the Bloodseeker with Rupture. At the same time, they're not dealing with multiple golems and multiple dooms. They only really have to worry about the massive black holes from Force, which again is counteracted by the draft. So early to mid game, leaning towards Polaris, maybe towards the later part of the game. Talon might have a little bit of an edge. The Bristle versus CK matchup, though, it's a little bit awkward. And I think clearing out the CK Phantasms might be down to Mikado more than anyone else with at least his AoE burst.
See, I think the nice thing as well, you've got multiple heroes that can build into the Silver's Edge, so you have this flexibility if the Conquer wants to go it or the Chaos Knight wants to go it. I'm hoping Enigma does go Vessel, although it is really something I've seen pretty specific on player, and again, Toby on Entity likes that, so I haven't really seen it kind of anywhere else, and I really think it is. I think you have to go for it this game. I again said I don't care who picks it up. This is a game where you gain a DP and a Bristleback. A must purchase item. So we'll see if he's gonna kind of change up the Vlads, and we've kind of also seen as well on a side note real quick in regards to Enigma's itemizations. It's been, if you are heavily counted in regards to the Black Hole, the Wraith Pack does tend to be kind of the another nice route. So we'll see how Force is going to be able to find his impact. Regardless, so we get a 2 for 2. What is that one lane we are looking for in regards to set up either team? What lane has to go really well?
I feel like it's really down to mid. Both the Kunkka and the Void Spirit are kind of these tempo-setting cores, and I expect Lelouch to still have a great time here. Like, again, just using the Tidebringer to shove away Mikado. Rune control not as important for the Kunkka. He's always going to have the XTP back if need be. And you have great support rotations that can come in with the Shadow Demon and with the Tiny down the line. So I expect way more aggression out from Polaris onto the mid to apply way more pressure onto Mikado and again, slow him down in that Void Spirit.
It's going to be a matchup that they top lane. AU, one more right click. Oh boy. All right, well the Shadow Demon is not the greatest laning support, but it's level 1 from Talon, so they're going to be able to find the kill hide without the Windlace or the boots to be able to close the distance, but it looks like 310 movement speed over the 290 was enough to play with the battery assault.
Yeah, and this is a lane that can play aggressive down the line for AU. Once he has the Shadow Poison and the Soul Catcher, your CK should be enabled by level 3, level 4. So Chaos Strike's going to be a bit more built up. You can just run down. The Clockwork has a bit of an awkward time in trying to get the battery assaults with the illusion spam as well. So you can kind of cut off that aggression. But dealing with KP is a different matter, right? Like as you mentioned, you can kind of burst her down once Phantasm's up. Before that point, Spirit Siphon's really good against that melee hero trying to chase up to you. So you'll always have the sustain, especially by the time that Spirit Siphon hits that level 2.
And for bottom lane, we're seeing the difficulties from Force on the Enigma. 4 and 4. I can't imagine this is going to be a lane where he's going to be able to find too much farm.
Yeah, it's going to be slower. Like, we have seen a lot of Southeast Asian Enigmas just kind of settle into that farm, settle in for the denies. You have to be careful in Xavius. It doesn't have much armor to deal with the Quill Spray spam.
Maleficus? Is it going to be enough? Savage going to be held back. No point in the Nasal Goo just yet for 23 Savage, and that was a lot of mana expended as well. Q hasn't brought out any mangoes to kind of help out for the Bristleback. What's he got on the Courier? Oh, he's got 2 mangoes. Okay, he's chilling.
Just going to get back in there. I think the one issue for Polaris is, again, just having the Enigma plus Tiny. It's a super passive lane. There are some angles you can play with Malphus into the toss back, but getting those opportunities, especially against something as tanky as Bristle, hard to see coming. And you've always got the Rubik to save with a pulled back anyway, as long as it's off cooldown. Are being aggressive up top here.
Dire's structures are
Just a bit of a back and forth poke.
Get the creeps. Yeah, KP's going to have to go back. Try and stop the neutral from claiming the wave. Bottom lane, they are diving Xavius. Force trying to rely on the body blocks to get Xavius out of harm's way. They might just turn to Force instead. 4 quill stacks. T2 tower isn't enough of a deterrent. It looks like it will be. Hang on, Xavius, what is going on? They are playing with fire. Can he get in range for the quill? Savage does just close the distance. A second kill for Talon picked up.
That's really important. You talked about that snowball for Savage. It's building up. He's doing well in CS. He's finding kills for himself. He is draining himself of mana. No sustain coming out. He's got clarities flying in now. So going to be able to at least have some more presence out there.
Top lane
again has been a little bit back and forth.
Just getting out of the cogs. AU being able to help out with the illusions to tank up that battery assault.
It's just... I mean, you can, again, be aggressive, but you're not at that point. Level 1 Shadow Poison's nice. You really might want that value point in Soul Catcher to allow the Burst of Natsumi to really shine, but it's not coming out. And with how tight in these side lanes are, it is actually allowing Mikato to play. There's no threat of X setup. There's no threat of these supports leaving that lane vulnerable. So the Void Spirit's able to work the lane a lot more, and Lelouch, I mean, he's still doing well above Mikado, but not by a huge amount. The Void Spirit should be able to match that level 6 spike here.
It's going to be a hero that's a little bit more mobile as well to get to the side lanes. I think it really comes down to just the power runes, which we will have the first spawn up in a minute 10. So the lanes are looking a little bit better at the moment for Talon, so that can help out with bringing some supports mid to maybe enable Makoto. Because if he does get that first rune, gets a kill into the side lane, then all of a sudden we could see the Void Spirit snowball. Kind of this hero does rely on that.
Yeah, and the momentum for both sides feels like it's relying on both the Kunkka for Polaris and the Void Spirit for Talon. Just hit that stride. We're going to have to see who does start to commit to get that happening soon. I think the one issue is it feels like the offlane of Polaris is just not doing as well as the offlane of Talon. Like KP is having a little bit of better time on the DP. Number 1 in net worth. Force in comparison is bottom net worth core. And doesn't really stop Savage from just finding farm. He might get tossed back here, but...
Savage? It's a lot of quills stacking up. Telekinesis Xavius a little bit closer. Meanwhile, top lane, Lelouch with the rotation. Drops the boat, but KP... He's playing with the Spirit Siphon in the moment to get himself back to a respectable health pool. Gotta be cautious about the Shadow Poison as well. Can they get a 5th sack to bring down KP? Oh, they do! AU, that is huge. Just on the edge. Gets the Shadow Poison and a beautiful rotation from Lelouch. Is able to set up for the double kill.
They really needed that. They needed to find a way to slow down KP, give Natsumi a little bit more breathing room to farm up. CK is just severely behind.
Should be killed off from Savage. They will not require the Goo to continue in the chase. They're going to get a rebuttal though. Force, alright. I honestly wasn't expecting the Eidolons to do that much damage at level 2, but it's enough to kill off Q.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trade. Still feels a lot better for Savage, getting that EXP his way. And Xavius now has to be cautious, getting the Tiny with no armor without Grow, just showing its weaknesses up against Bristle. This is why you used to see mid-Bristle as a solution to mid-Tiny, again, usually from Mamang Daya. Savage has a full Vanguard. He's not scared of anything now.
Maybe a T2 tower you should be pretty scared about. Okay, wow. Oh man, it's not supposed to tickle him like that. Savage is going back in. Oh, what's going on? Top lane as well. Makoto with the rotation. We'll keep tabs back on bottom though as Lelouch is trying to catch out Savage. They need the banishment to allow Lelouch to close the distance. Maybe the throw actually can slow him down. And there we go. Lelouch is out with the combo. They get the magic damage required to bring down 23 Savage, his first death of the game.
Big kill coming out. Lelouch again. Kind of saving the day there for Polaris with his timely rotations. Freeing up a bit of a push for Talon up top, though. They don't even pop the Exorcism on KP, so it's going to be around for a team fight, maybe for that mid shove in. And Polaris, they could try to go for a push themselves if Force did want to commit the Eidolons, but he's having to walk back into that lane. It's a bit
Bottom
of an
lane.
opening for Talon in terms of holding that map.
Just a kill on Makoto. I saw him TP down. I thought it was a cord that they were jumping, but just a measly Xavius. No one cares about the tiny. At least you keep Force alive. They are... Natsumi might be in trouble. Look at the ward they're playing with. Plays previously from high. It's going to be able to catch out Natsumi farming in the jungle, and now they might consider linking this into the tier 1 tower as well. Let's see how they can play with the EXO. KP is just going to run aggressively under the tower. They've got the control to lock him in. Let's see if they have the burst as well. Xavius, no, the Cogs gets the push back, but the toss still to close the distance. And in the end, KP will go down. They have a window, though, to kill off Force as well down bottom. So, John, what's going on, man? Game 1, Game 2. We've had a really kind of slow-paced early game, but this Game 3, all hell has broke loose.
And they're just playing aggressive. I think it's down to the draft. They have much more pressure, especially on Talon's end. It does feel like they want to hit these early timings. They want to snowball off the back with his bristleback. And Mikado is going for a much more aggressive build on Void Spirit as well, going for the Kaya Sanj. So with the stats front line, with burst damage on hand, and just gonna have to run around that. They want to prevent Polaris from farming, right? Like, they don't want Natsumi to hit his timings with just the armlet into BKB. You know, you don't want to allow Force to farm up. Polaris is a little bit greedier. Right? With Enigma off lane, even the Wraith Pack takes some time to farm up. Black Hole, not the easiest game to play around, so it's all about utility on the Enigma here. And they're just preventing that from being a factor. Look at the net worth of Force, barely above Q. 400 gold above Q on the Rubik. That's a pause for Rubik. Still level 4 on the Enigma. Q is already level 5, so they've shut down that weaker off lane of Polaris. There's a little bit of greed playing in here with Xavius as well on the Tiny, because, you know, it's a Tiny support. It's gonna need a blink. It's gonna need some space for itself. And that blink is still a ways off as well. So Talon just recognizing this slower timing and trying to run down, because down the line, the CK does hit a better mid-game plateau. The Kunkka can go for that Silver Edge you mentioned, breaking out Savage, making him a lot squishier. Spirit Vessel pickup is still a possibility, even for something like the Shadow Demon. You could just give it over to AU if he does manage to find farm, and you just take away the impact of the DP and the Bristle. So Talon are just trying to force these plays while Polaris aren't ready.
For me, I'm really going to be looking at, I think, next EXO for Talon, and also the power rune control now for them. It's going to be very important to be able to enable Makoto, because we saw that in Game 2, it was a throw where he was able to somehow get item after item, and then the impact on the Void Spirit was crazy late game. Of course, the talents are incredible on this hero. Once you can get those items as well to help out with your mobility, it's important. But the kind of before the first two items, it can be a bit awkward with your farming rate. So I like what they've done so far in Talon. You know, Makoto's 3-0. He's had some incredible rotation so far. And they're even considering about still playing bottom to put some pressure onto the tower, but we'll think otherwise.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Back off in the nick of time. Force is back in. Just going to be back to farming for a little bit. They've bought some space out for even High to just play up top. Hit his level 6. Threaten with hookshot. Has a smoke ready for that sort of rotation here as well. And again, Savage is just on his ride up to the Ags. Does skip the brown boots for now. Could have it flying out in the courier. Yeah, has at least the brown boots. But into the Ags after the Vanguard. That key timing you talked about there earlier on, Ares. And once that lines up, running down the lane with this bristleback, there's nothing to stop it. You don't have a form of Rake. You don't have even the Urn up yet. Mikado again, even with just, say, the Kaya Sanj is going to feel a lot more impactful compared to the earlier games. And just taking control of the map. Top jungle's completely cut off with wards, and with Hyde constantly shoving in. They haven't been able to play around mid yet here, Ares, but Exorcism's off in about 1 minute, and the BKB of KP is also progressing quite nicely here.
I love how they're playing, though, with this top jungle area on Talon. They know that the Chaos Knight, he can't farm at the triangle, because Conker wants to be there. You can't farm down bottom, because Enigma needs catch up. So all he can really get at this moment is just the lane farm. So Talon with that aggressive ward that they placed prior, continuing just to run down the Chaos Knight. even though it is under vision, like they are fully aware of this with the cliff ward from Polaris, but you are just continuing to slow down the farm that the CK is finding. Yeah, they have to make a smoke to make a play. They need to be able to reclaim their jungle.
Yeah, you need to find that flank. Good wraparound from Polaris. Might catch Mikoto off guard if he's not careful.
Mikoto! Oh boy.
Ooh.
AU? They see him, but can they get in range? No, just a little bit too late. Meanwhile, bottom lane though, Force, he stepped too far forward. Hyde's going to be in with the hook shot. The TPs are starting to rain in. AU's going to be able to buy some time thanks to the banishment, but it's just the support in Xavier, so he will not have enough damage to turn this around. But at least you do keep Force alive. Mid lane? Lelouch, they've charged up the EXO on KP. Lelouch will be playing with the run buff that it did get stolen on Q. The Remnant drag back into the boat and the telekinesis. Oh, Mr. Q. Beautiful spell casting. And meanwhile, at the triangle, Hyde, he's looking for a solo kill into AU, but now with the illusions out, they can tank the battery assault.
Yeah, he's buying so much space for this to happen in mid though. And no one's coming in to help. No one came in to help Lelouch while he was being dived by 3 heroes because of that movement down bot. The split aggression from Talon paying off there to clear out that mid-tier 1. And, you know, going back to your point about Q, this is why you don't let Q have Rubik. And this is why I was very hesitant to say Hyde would take it, because Q's such a pleasant Rubik player to watch. He just knows how to play it on edge. He's been playing this since Motivate Trust. Hyde, though, might get punished here. Dancing around.
Lelouch will claim it. Yeah, it's, you see how much farm the Rubik is being able to find as well. He's already got Arcane Boots, Keen Optic, that is almost a bunch of net worth in itself for a Rubik, and he's going to be rushing a first item Blink. There's some pretty good abilities to steal. Of course, the classic Black Hole, but even just any stuns, the Avalanche on the Tiny would be great. You're able to steal the Banishment, the Chaos Bolt, some great abilities for Q to be playing with.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
He's got a lot. I think you'd be really looking at the Shadow Shaman spells, Shadow Demon spells down the line. Disruption, the Demonic Purge is going to be great if you can find it. And Polaris, again, has to be a bit weary. 4k lead for Talon early on here as Savage clears out some massive stacks. The Ags inching closer and closer here for the Bristle, and the aggression still lining up.
Kodo's got half his mana pool to play with.
Ooh.
It's going to be Hyde that gets the angle in with the hook shot. Beautifully done. They might be able to get a rebuttal, though. Toss back under the tower. Some great spell casting. Lelouch was already ready with the boat.
Furled your sails, but good.
Natsumi should be fine. He TP's out right now, and that will be the case. Meanwhile, Force has gotten a little bit of catch up as well. Just some damage into the tower. Vlad's is being completed. They're going to be in a position where they have to pop the glyph, but he's got to be cautious though. Makoto's going to TP down. He's got no mana though.
A little bit low. Xavius is around to help out as well. Does have the illusion rune in the bottle, so he should be able to top up and has a clarity on hand just in case. But not even finding that first objective here for Polaris does feel pretty massive, and Q's here to top up the bottle on to respawn. So Kato can play aggressive once more.
Oh boy. That's
boy.
I don't blame him, honestly. He's really far behind as Hyde again gets the jump onto Xavius. It's Tiny. He's blink tag. I mean, he's close to 1600 gold, but these deaths are really not going to help out for him to be able to find that at a decent timing.
Yeah, and it does look like Q's going to be able to find his a little bit faster with the Arcane Boots on top. So, you know, once that Rubik blinks up, more initiation angles, better spells to steal for Q in the middle of these fights. Going back to your point about the CK Midas Ares, we've seen this a couple of times, but yeah, it doesn't feel great. We were talking about the armlet timing. Now it's going to be the Midas Echo Saber. Even then, that doesn't feel like enough. You're going to want the BKB before you fight now on the CK. And that just means you're inactive a lot longer than Savage is going to be looking to be proactive. Ags up on the Bristle. Still just a level 1 Nasal Goo, so not the biggest minus arm in the world, but once he gets the levels up with the Ags, just running around up front, you don't have much to stop him from getting that slow, getting that additional damage off.
And they also got BKB onto KP. So They could you could argue about waiting until level 2 in Exo, but I feel like that's a bit unnecessary with these big items. You get a pick off, it should be instantly into Roshan. They're going to try and part their way to top, make sure they can get a kill in the neighborhood.
Radiant's bottom tower is
They
under
did see the Shadow Demon chuck out a poison. Hi. Rocket Flare just shy of the Shadow Demon's position.
Tower has fallen.
They start into the Roshan. Savage already just getting the damage that they need and not even having to pop the Exo for this one, it looks like. And the bot tier one does fall, but Polaris is too far away to even jump into the Rosh. They've got information with a war though. Just not going to be there quick enough.
Just feels like they're probably not even in a position to contest this with the Chaos Knight. Going this Midas route, I mean, it's not going to help you at all. There we go. Age is picked up. Blink Dagger on Q. You're going to be looking at some tier 2 towers. KP wasn't forced to pop the Exo. So you are probably going to be thinking about controlling the top jungle and then leading that into the tier 2 tower. It lanes it. Oh, this is really... It gets his Blink, but... Yeah, it'll cost him his life though, nonetheless. But at least he's got his Blink now to respawn with.
It's still a big pickup for Polaris. They've finally got an Initiator on hand. We're seeing Force as well. He's not going all in on the raid pack. Stays in the Vlad's, going into his own Blink. Will want to play with that black hole, but just raises caution about giving openings for Q with his own Blink. So we'll see if that will pay off. Talon with her own smoke play, looking to wrap around through the triangle here.
They should know that top safe though, because Bristle TP bottom. This is a really interesting TP from Savage. Like, they don't have an objective here to be able to claim. Lelouch's might be able to scout up the smoke. They're going to be able to jump AU instead. Or buy a little bit of time with the banishment, but nonetheless, they will get the kill onto the Shadow Demon. But it's just, they're wasting this Aegis timing. So they book it. All right, meanwhile to the right side though, Hyde, he's committed without the rest of the team behind him.
Back so soon.
Should be okay for the moment. Waiting for that torrent. Beautifully done from Lelouch, but the combo's going to be off the mark regardless.
This Q again with the stolen disruption. We talked about the Rubik. Such a great game for it. Lots of great spells to steal. And Hyde just stays alive. Yeah, they're not really able to use the Aegis onto objectives just yet, but it's still 3.5 minutes until expiry. Tend to see the teams really start to play with it maybe by the 2-minute mark, and Savage is getting some good pressure down bot. The rest of Polaris kind of playing top. They want to catch out Mikato.
Black Hole's out from Force. Xavier's gonna make sure he holds the toss to the last second. The damage took him out with the poison. They need one more stack. No way he dodges it. Into the TP. Where's the vision?
What?
No way! Oh. Oh god. And they're thinking about high ground here on Talon. Uh-oh, 2 points in Exo, they're ready to go.
Yeah, no black hole, nothing to worry about. Now, Mikado just manages to get the best wasted spells in that time frame. And now Talon are looking at an early high ground. Fortify is there to slow them down. And Savage, despite the Vanguard, can still cop a lot of damage there, is using his back really well though. And just stand back and kind of just cop it for the team. But without the black hole, it does feel like you're not able to threaten, you're not able to stop this clump up here.
Xavier's. Nice toss back. Under the tier 4 tower he goes as well. Lelouch's got the boat. A BKB still yet to be complete. They're going to drag him further back on Polaris. Beautiful recognition of how they can try and deal with Savage deep inside their base. They stole the boat. The run buff might come out a little bit too late. We see how tanky Savage is at the moment. Mikoto is it with the combo. The double damage rune as well. He'll get the tiny, but still they do lose out on the Bristlebak and a Talon. They are way too deep. They need to retreat as a team, but they might not have this capability. A BKB TP out on KP. Q's going to look for his own as well, but... well, he won't even try it. In fact, he knows he'll be cancelled in his tracks as Polaris very crafty with that defense, and they're able to stop the Aegis push.
A bit greedy from Talon to go so far. Now they overextend, trying to look for the kills, and the toss back play from Xavius is massive, putting Savage out of position. No BKB yet on him, so he's still very susceptible to all of that control, and they stall out. And Talon losing a lot of their lead, 1.4k going the way of Polaris on the back of that trade, but they mitigate their losses. You know, you lose Savage, at least you didn't lose Mikado. Savage is still a massive loss, but you don't want to stall out this Void Spirit's timing. The Ag still has to come through after that Kaya Sanj. Mikado's making decent enough progress, still lacking about 2,000 gold. That's going to be the next power spike for them to play with. Lelouch.
Oh, Q, what's he stolen?
Oh.
Just a time. Okay. They are wrapping around, though. BKB on cooldown for another 5 seconds. Let's see if they're going to be able to get the damage in prior, and they will. Talon. All right, wasn't expecting them to ever be in a position to kill the Conquer, but beautifully done, especially with the Bristleback not being nearby. So a bit of a freebie for Radiant to find, and now they can get the map control back in their favor.
Yeah, Savage already pushing up top all by himself. BKB almost done, just lacking the recipe mid under pressure from Creep Wave. And KP does have EXO, might want to save it for another high ground attempt, but I don't reckon Talon will want to try that without the Aegis, considering how well Polaris played it last time around. So still clearing out the map really early on. Polaris not seeing the openings. They're still waiting for Natsumi's build up. The BKB for the CK is going to come out. He's got space down bot. Blink is ready in force for the Black Hole. BKB also being farmed up by the Enigma. How effective that will be against a Clockwork Rubik? Probably not too much, but if he finds a good angle, could make it awkward for Hyde to find a hook and for Q to find a steal. So some massive openings there. But speaking of the Rubik here, Q is also going for Ags here. So yeah, he's got the farm. You know, he's building into it. Still a ways off, but he's got that Philostone to help speed that up.
I do like this play though, regardless from the Chaos Knight. Just shoving in bottom, forcing Talon to be able to go back and react to this. This will give him now an opportunity to go into their top jungle, claim the outpost, maybe D-ward, get some wards down. And this is where you're looking to take a fight. You've got your abilities ready. So you've got, yeah, your abilities and your items now completed. So you're at the kind of the mercy of Talon's initiation. If Force can get the jump, maybe Xavius as well, then Polaris and a choke point could be able to bring this game back.
And they've still got the opportunities. They've still got the scaling that can come out from Natsumi. Does disassemble the Echo Saber for that BKB. Now Talon already going for the smoke play. A minute and a half for Roche to be back up, or at least a timer to be back up, so no opportunity for that. But a couple of pickoffs can still land him onto the high ground here.
Looks like they will not be able to catch out the Chaos Knight though, farming up top. Again, the Phantasm proving to be a bit of an issue. How they can cut the waves. And it's just going to be a constant thing here for Polaris, looking to avoid. Shove out one of the side lanes. As soon as Talon react, you go to the opposite side, but they are under a ward. Talon moving over. Mikoto looking to hold Pure's back until the rest of the team's able to show up.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
They've also run into Force down bottom. Xavier's going to be in. Hang on, you cannot kill KP. Gonna try and TP up, but Q's nearby to be able to cancel that. It'll be an easy kill onto the Tiny. They're also looking for more as well into the lane. They will not have anyone else to be able to close the distance though. Savage, no stuns, and Mikoto, Remnant was on cooldown. So Polaris, they'll lose the Tiny, but the other members will be able to escape.
And he managed to back off. They might be able to hold off in tier 2. Looks like they're going to have to play high ground now. Talon completely stripping the map of Polaris away. High ground without the Aegis still feels like a risk. We've seen Savage already try last time with the Aegis. Didn't work, so might still need that Aegis to try again. But no, Savage looks more confident with that BKB. And without the tiny toss back, that same play can't happen again.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They've got multiple ways to cancel this black hole as well. So it feels like it has to be a black hole onto one with a really split up fight, or you need to deal with multiple members on Talon and have them preoccupied to set up for Force. It's the call. Polaris, you have the Tiny back alive. How do you try and take this engagement? Mikoto just completed the Scepter as well, but look at the discipline on Talon. They're happy with what they've gotten. A melee barracks, EXO expiring, so they're going to dip out.
Yeah, and they also see that respawn on Xavius. They know what happened the last time they tried to push against that Tiny Blink toss back. And they'll play it safe. Roche, 2 minutes away. So some time for Polaris to also make a play, and they will smoke out of the base here.
Should be able to recognize this though. No one's kind of pushing the lanes. No one's at the triangle as well where they have this observer ward. So yeah, nice read from Talon, backing up to their tier 1 tower. And it's also a read where Exo's on cooldown. The enemy team wants to be fighting whenever the big ultimates are down. So Talon, recognizing this, safely positioning Xavier slow. KP's got BKB. TP is back up as well if required. And it looks like he's going to be fine.
TP back. They've got an opportunity for a smoke on Talon. Full 5-man here. Not under any vision. Just need to find the angle with a fresh Ags and Mikato.
They are pinging out them being near mid. Maybe they saw the goo on one of the creeps, but they also were able to read Talon coming across the map, and now the outpost will give them confirmation. So both sides are going to be missing out on our smokes, and we're going to be looking towards the next Roche now. We'll be up in a minute. I have a pretty good ward to play with by the cliff to the north.
Almost got the hook out onto Natsumi, blind. The flare came after the fact. That was close. Would have been a massive kill to set up for that Roshan.
Is there anything soon to be completed on Polaris that you feel like might be an issue for Talon?
Silver Edge on Lelouch, probably the next big spike. If they can jump Savage, that's their angle in. BKB for Force as well, might catch him off by surprise.
Look at the vision they're getting. The jetpack sees everyone on the high ground. The cogs as well to push Natsumi back down so he doesn't have the greatest position to retreat. A BKB is going to buy in some time. They know the hookshot is on cooldown as well, so the chase will not be there, but I think this almost guarantees the Roche going the way of raiding unless Force is able to get a crazy BKB black hole. CK will not be in a position where he can charge into the middle.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough now without that spell immunity on Natsumi. Roshan is up. Savage has the damage to kind of just ride through it now. DD on Mikado as well, though fading already. Have to be wary of their positioning here. Can't stay too clumped up, but it doesn't look like Polaris wants to venture outside her high ground. And that will be second Roche going the way of Talon now. Shard could be massive for Savage or Mikado to find. It does look like they'll hand it to Mikado for the wider range on that Dissimulate. Just more mobility coming through for the Void Spirit. A bit of a TP rotation down bot. They saw Natsumi there.
Yeah, they see him in the lane. I don't know how he's reading this, but Natsumi recognizes that TPing down. Talon, KP's going to see the pathing of the creeps. He won't have a way to cancel this, and he doesn't get the vision until too late anyway for Makoto to jump. So I don't know how he read that, but beautiful read regardless from Natsumi.
Yeah, backs off in the nick of time and manages to save his life. Polaris are fairly clumped up. Savage is sort of alone here.
Maybe they could jump the Rubik if he continues in the lane, but going to go to the triangle instead. Talon making sure they kind of plays a team and no one is split up to be picked off. For Polaris with their initiation, who do you feel like is that #1 target that they have to bring down?
Almost feels like you want to go for a solo play pick off onto Q, and then theoretically you should be able to block off the hook for Force to get a black hole. So ideally you just take care of the Rubik. That's going to be the wild card factor for the rest of your team fight. Once you force him away, Force should be able to just play with a BKB, and you just protect him from the clockwork as best as you can. Cut off the angles for the hook shot, and just ride from there. High ground defense of Polaris is still great. Threat of black hole, threat of throwback. It's difficult for Talon to deal with. You can see them again playing it a little bit safe, even with the Aegis up, cutting back a little bit. They've got the full Ags on Q though, so the double spell steal's there. Cast range is a lot better as well. It's not going to be too challenging to find those black holes every time.
God, it's so fun. What's going on? Philosopher's Stone Gaming out here on Q. He is chilling with his farm. Who wants a reality rift? Come on, get a better ability here for Mr. Q. I guess 7 minus armor on Savage. You'll take whatever you can get, but Polaris smoking outside the base, maybe seeing if they can catch up. Makoto sticking around for a little bit too long. He's under a ward. Makoto vulnerable to the jump. It's a 4-second stun as well. With Natsumi nearby with a Phantasm, they'll have plenty of damage.
No counterplay out from Talon. A very important pickoff for Polaris to kind of stall that high ground to get some gold going their way. Big kill to find, but Talon's still in position with the hook shot. Just need to find a good angle. They do scout out with the CK illusions though. So not going to be the easiest time in coming up, and they did have vision down as well. So still not able to play without Aegis yet. DD out for Savage. could be nice to pick up and chase. Ooh, hook.
I was like, what's going on? Where is hooking? Deeping out into
Missed.
off the mark again. So this is a bit of a pipe dream, but if AU can somehow make his way towards the scepter, that is going to be huge for them. I think it's going to take quite some time, but I think he has that one item you want now in the 4-staff, so the clockwork is not going to be too much of an issue.
Yep. And that's already pretty big and at least saving a couple of heroes here, but that Ags is still pivotal. He is queuing it up. 3,000 or so gold away, so a lot more time necessary, and unfortunately for him, nothing like a Philosopher's Stone as well.
Oh, he's got a DD! Oh my lord. At least he's not level 25 yet on Savage, but yeah, plus 526 damage. Nothing wrong. Oh, there we go. That's a big target, but the toss onto the T4 towers. They might be able to get the first life. Savage, he's going to go down because the rest of Talon, they're going to try and deal with AU. Someone needs to go back to protect Savage. The black hole's out. Stolen from Q, but Rubik, he's trying to get into the middle of the fight. Oh. There we go. The stolen black hole. On to 2 as Q's done it. He's able to protect 23 Savage. They're swarming towards Xavier's location as the tips a well-deserved Q gives him an opportunity to take this team fight. What a player!
Oh my god, that was on knife's edge, but Xavius throws out the avalanche early, throws out the toss as well, nothing to cancel the stolen black hole, and with the Ags, that reach of spell steal, it's your entire screen. He can reach it from a mile away, and again, black hole, it's not the hardest spell to steal off. So just turn around, jump back forward, provide that opportunity for Savage, forcing out 3 buybacks. Polaris hang on to the mid set of racks, but with no buybacks, one little team fight is all it's going to take here.
They'll get whatever they can get. Tiny just brought back. AU on the side. They're going to get the Shadow Demon as well. Makota with the double silence. Rocket Flare to see the Shadow Demon's positioning. With the close, it's not a possibility for Talon, but that's Tiny down 70 seconds with Black Hole on cooldown. Base is going to be under siege.
Creep Wave still a little bit far out. Down mid, even the side lanes aren't quite shoved in yet. They've got ample time, no toss back. That's what Polaris has been playing around with to secure those kills onto Savage. He's got the opening to just go for the full mega creeps. One last rack standing bot. Reminiscent of game 2. Small back for Polaris here though.
Atsumi, Makoto's going to get the initiation first. They're trying to target on Savage, but this bristleback is unkillable. As Savage wants blood. Behind the throne they go. They'll double back to deal with the Conquer. Lelouch is out. Down for the count. 100 seconds. That's a dieback. And back towards the objectives as Talon. And they've done it. Congratulations. Polaris will call it. Talon will be the 3rd team to represent Southeast Asia in ESL One Genting.
Yeah, it's quite the turnaround for Talon. You know, game 1 was a lot more back and forth, very even. Game 2, it looked like Polaris was just going to have it. And game 3 comes out, the draft flies by for Talon. We saw them use no reserve time. They knew what they wanted.